If you think you know the Chicago rap story, trust me, you don't. Because behind the hits, behind the fame, behind the OTF chains shining under stage lights, there's a reality nobody wants to talk about. A truth carved out of trauma, loyalty, betrayal, and survival. Long before Lil Durk was selling out arenas, long before King Von became the face of Chicago drill's rawest storytelling, there was something real, something pure, something built on friendship, brotherhood, block ties, shared pain, and a dream to escape the chaos surrounding them. But fame doesn't just change your life, it tests every bond you thought would last forever. And when Durk and Von started rising, the pressure didn't just hit the industry, it hit the streets they came from. If you were in their position, same struggle, same demons, same enemies watching every move, what would you do? Would you choose loyalty or survival? The internet has its theories. The streets have their whispers. And fans still argue about the moment everything truly snapped. Let's break down how success, the very thing they fought for, became the turning point that shattered Brotherhood in the Chicago rap scene. Before Chicago drill became a global sound, before the world learned to fear and admire the stories coming out of O Block, Lamron, 600, 300, TYMB, STL, JRO, and every block caught in the crossfire, there was something much smaller and much more fragile holding everything together: friendship. Not the kind you post on Instagram. Not the kind with matching outfits or cute captions. This was the kind built from walking home together after school while sirens screamed in the distance. The kind built from losing friends at 15 and pretending you were numb. The kind built from telling each other, one day we gonna make it out, even though the block didn't let many leave. That was the foundation of the Chicago rap scene before fame complicated everything. Back then, Lil Durk wasn't the face of OTF yet. He was just Durk from Englewood, trying to do something different, trying to use music as a way out. King Von was still a neighborhood legend in the making, known for his charisma, his storytelling, his past, his potential. Their bond wasn't built on music first. It was built on the struggle. They came from blocks separated by minutes but connected by pain, history, and war stories that the rest of the world could never fully understand. They weren't childhood friends, the city never gave them that luxury, but they were brothers in ambition, bonded by a dream bigger than themselves. Durk was the first one to catch a wave. His early mixtapes were raw, emotional, melodic, and more importantly, honest. His pain sounded real because it was. His losses weren't metaphors. They were names, faces, memories. Every time he rapped about losing someone, the entire city knew who he meant. Von saw that rise from the sidelines, watching from the shadows of the streets while fighting a legal system that seemed designed to cage him forever. There was a time Von wasn't supposed to smile again, wasn't supposed to see freedom again, but somehow he made it out. When Von came home, Durk didn't treat him like a friend returning. He treated him like a missing piece coming back to the puzzle. He put him on, gave him a platform, a spotlight, and something even heavier: responsibility. The world started paying attention to Von the moment Durk embraced him publicly. Their bond wasn't just brotherhood, it was synergy. Two different energies. Two different talents. One dangerous level of potential. But Chicago had a way of turning success into suspicion. Every cosign, every chain, every new viral moment created distance. Not between Durk and Von, but between them and the people who once stood shoulder to shoulder with them. Suddenly, the block felt colder. Old friends started asking questions. Some felt left behind. Others felt owed. And some just couldn't watch from the background as these two rose higher and higher. Durk and Von didn't ignore their people. They brought the block with them, literally and musically. But the higher they climbed, the more complicated loyalty became. Because one thing the internet never understood is this: fame doesn't erase old problems, it magnifies them. And in Chicago, old problems don't go away. They wait for you. As their careers grew, the streets felt the shift. Everyone wanted a position, a cosign, a feature, a ticket out. But not everyone could have one. So jealousy started growing like weeds between cracks nobody noticed at first. Small comments turned into distance. Distance turned into grudges. Grudges turned into people choosing sides. It wasn't beef, not yet. Just the quiet tension that always builds when money enters a world built on loyalty. Durk noticed it early. Vaughn noticed it too. How could they not? People who used to call every day suddenly didn't call at all. People who once rooted for their success suddenly started making slick remarks behind their backs. Screenshots began circulating. Old tweets resurfaced. Rumors grew. Moments that didn't matter before suddenly felt personal. Everyone had something to say, too much in fact, all because two street kids found a way to dream loud enough for the world to hear them. But the part that hurt the most wasn't the strangers. It was the people they had laughed with, cried with, risked everything with. The ones who swore loyalty back when there was nothing to lose. Now that there was something to lose, that loyalty didn't look the same. Durk tried to keep peace. Vaughn tried to keep real ones close. But pressure hits everyone differently. And when Vaughn started blowing up, not slowly but explosively, the brotherhood they tried to protect began cracking from the inside. His energy was magnetic. His stories were vivid. His confidence was electric. Fans felt it. Labels felt it. Even people from rival blocks felt it. And that's when things really shifted. Suddenly, Durk wasn't just rising. He was sharing the spotlight with someone who brought a level of authenticity the industry wasn't ready for. And while they remained a united front publicly, the world around them wasn't as stable. The city began choosing favorites. Comment sections became battlegrounds. Blogs highlighted Durk versus Vaughn narratives even if they weren't true. Old friends compared their fame. Outsiders whispered about jealousy. Opportunists stirred the pot hoping for access to either one. And in the middle of all that noise, something none of them expected happened. Their success started pulling them into different directions. Not by choice. Not out of ego. Just out of gravity. Durk had label obligations, businesses, tours, court cases, and a growing family to protect. Vaughn had storytelling to prove, a legacy to claim, and a past still chasing him at every turn. They loved each other, that was never the question. But the world around them started changing faster than either of them could control. And that's the part the internet never talks about. Fame didn't create problems between them. It exposed the fractures already hiding inside the Chicago rap scene. Old alliances, block politics, silent tensions, misunderstandings, expectations, and most importantly, the pressure of representing more than yourself. Because once drill became mainstream, the entire city wanted a piece of their success. And that's when Brotherhood began bending, twisting, cracking, slowly, quietly, painfully. But even with all those fractures forming, neither Durk nor Vaughn saw what was coming next. They didn't see the moment approaching that would flip everything upside down. The moment when their rise wouldn't just inspire the city. It would divide it. What nobody understood back then was how violent the shift really was. The moment Lil Durk and King Von's momentum exploded, the entire Chicago rap scene felt like it was splitting in two different directions. One moving toward success, business, shows, deals, industry power, and the other sinking deeper into jealousy, pressure, trauma, and territory politics. Fame didn't just shine a spotlight. It cast shadows. And in those shadows, people whispered, compared, judged, and assumed things that were never said out loud. Suddenly, every friendship looked like a question mark. Every post looked like a message. Every lyric became a clue. And the brotherhood that once felt unbreakable started feeling like a fragile thread stretched between two rising stars. The industry didn't help either. Labels loved the Durk-Vaughn combination, but they also loved the narrative that came with it. The Prince of Chicago and the voice of the trenches. It wasn't a rivalry, they were a team. But the industry thrives on tension, real or manufactured. And the more popular Vaughn became, the more the outside world tried to spin it like there was a silent competition brewing. Blogs pushed the idea that Vaughn's storytelling was overshadowing Durk's melodic dominance. Fans argued daily about who carried OTF harder. Comment sections created drama that never existed. And slowly, quietly, the noise around them began poisoning the air. But the real pressure wasn't coming from fans. It was coming from the streets. People who once supported them felt replaced. Some felt ignored. Others felt jealous. Old faces wanted in. New faces wanted out. Every block had an opinion. Every move they made was analyzed through alliances built years before either of them ever touched a studio mic. And worse, some people saw their success as leverage, something to use, something to force loyalty, something to demand attention from. Vaughn noticed it first. He had been home long enough to see how fame distorted everything. Guys who once showed love suddenly acted like they were owed something: money, opportunity, recognition. Guys who promised to ride suddenly started pulling away. The streets don't like seeing someone escape. And Vaughn escaped fast. Too fast, according to some. Every day, someone else acted strange. Every week, someone new had a comment about how things used to be. Every month, someone who never helped suddenly resurfaced with a handout. Vaughn loved his people, but he wasn't blind. He felt the shift. He felt the envy. He felt the desperation in people's eyes. Even those closest to him felt the pressure of being next up, even if they didn't admit it. Durk tried to keep the peace. He always did. He wasn't the loud, confrontational one. He kept loyalty close and business closer. But even he couldn't ignore how success created invisible walls. The more he grew, the more responsibility weighed on him. He was no longer just a rapper. He was a provider, a leader, a symbol. And symbols come with expectations the average person can't handle. People saw Durk's wins as something they deserved a piece of. When he couldn't give it to them, resentment started growing like mold. And then came the moment that changed everything. Vaughn dropped Crazy Story. The city froze. The industry froze. The world froze. Vaughn wasn't just a rapper anymore. He became a phenomenon overnight. One song transformed him from a street legend into one of the most captivating storytellers the drill scene ever produced. And with that fame came something far more dangerous than industry hype: spotlight on every person around him, whether they wanted it or not. Suddenly, every affiliation mattered. Every old beef resurfaced. Every enemy started watching. Every friend wanted access. Durk supported Vaughn through all of it. He put him on tour, put chains on him, put trust in him, put the brand behind him. But success creates gravity. And Vaughn's gravity pulled people in, some for the right reasons, many for the wrong ones. The Brotherhood that once felt simple now had layers. Loyalties were tested. People had opinions they didn't voice. People felt the need to choose between the old days and the new life. But the biggest shift came when Vaughn's authenticity put him in rooms Durk had fought years to reach. Executives, producers, actors, even people outside the music world were drawn to Vaughn's energy. He was raw, unfiltered, unpredictable. And because of that, he was dangerous, in all the ways the industry loves. And that's when the division became real, not between Durk and Vaughn, but around them. People began treating them differently. Durk was seen as the polished leader building an empire. Vaughn was seen as the street general rising with momentum no one could slow down. Fans loved both. But the environment around them? It didn't. Some people whispered that Vaughn was surpassing Durk. Others whispered that Durk felt threatened. None of it was true. But truth doesn't matter when people profit off chaos. Meanwhile, back in Chicago, things were heating up in ways fame couldn't fix. Old conflicts resurfaced. New enemies formed. People who used to stand together suddenly avoided each other. Streets that once supported their rise now felt abandoned. Blocks that once felt connected now felt divided again, not by violence this time, but by success. The saddest part? Neither Durk nor Vaughn wanted that. They wanted to lift people up, not break bonds. But the higher they went, the harder it became to carry everyone. And deep down, they both felt the same unspoken fear. The moment one of them fell, the world would never look at the other the same. The pressure built silently day after day, until Vaughn started feeling the weight of fame pushing him in directions that didn't align with the Brotherhood he once knew. And Durk, juggling fame, fatherhood, business, court cases, and leadership, struggled to keep everything from falling apart. The world didn't see the cracks forming, but the people closest to them felt the foundation shaking. And then came the decisions that changed trajectories. Vaughn started exploring opportunities outside OTF, acting roles, solo deals, broader looks. Not because of disloyalty, but because his talent demanded it. Durk supported him publicly, proudly, loudly. But privately, both of them could feel the shift. Their brotherhood was real, but the world around them wasn't built to protect it. And the moment that truly shattered everything? It wasn't a fight. It wasn't jealousy. It wasn't industry politics. It was the night the world nearly lost King Von. The night the entire Chicago rap scene changed forever. The night fame collided with fate. The night Brotherhood faced the kind of tragedy no bond could fully prepare for. The night everything changed wasn't supposed to be historic. It wasn't supposed to be tragic. It wasn't supposed to become the breaking point of an entire era in Chicago rap. It was supposed to be just another night out. Music, friends, energy, celebration. But the truth about fame is this: the higher you rise, the more unpredictable your nights become. And on that night, King Von walked into a storm he didn't fully see coming. A storm built from years of trauma, years of survival, years of pressure, and years of the world watching him like a character instead of a human being. That night didn't just shake a city. It cracked the foundation of a brotherhood that had carried hope for millions. Von was at the peak of his rise. Just days before, he had dropped new music, done interviews, laughed with fans, and moved like a man ready to dominate the next chapter of his life. But the thing about Chicago is, you can take the person out of the trenches, but the trenches never stop watching them. Von had become too big, too loud, too influential, too real. And when real people enter a world built on illusion, the world pushes back hard. Fame gave Von wings, but it also placed him in situations where pride and impulse fought louder than reason. When the altercation broke out that night, it didn't start as a war. It started as energy, raw, chaotic, fast energy. People pushing, yelling, stepping up, stepping back, trying to figure out what was happening before anything even happened. Von wasn't hiding. Von never hid. He was frontline, heart first, never calculating the industry-safe move. That rawness made him a star. But that same rawness placed him exactly where the danger was thickest. And when the shots rang out, the entire world felt it in slow motion. The internet froze. The city froze. Durk froze. His brothers froze. Everyone who loved Von froze. Within seconds, the story that had once been about rising hope became a tragedy unfolding in real time. Fans begged for updates. Friends demanded answers. People prayed. People panicked. And in the chaos, something devastating happened. The Chicago rap scene, already fragile from fame and pressure, finally shattered. Durk received the call no brother ever wants to hear. The kind of call that collapses lungs and breaks time. The kind that makes your ears ring, your hands shake, your soul fall to its knees. He wasn't there. He couldn't stop it. He couldn't reach him. All he could do was listen as the world screamed Von's name in shock, fear, and disbelief. And when the confirmation came, when the reality hit, the brotherhood they fought so hard to build took its final blow. It wasn't betrayal. It wasn't ego. It wasn't fame. It wasn't envy. It was loss, devastating, unimaginable loss, the kind that rewires entire lives. After that night, Durk didn't just lose a friend. He lost a piece of himself. A piece he never got back. A piece that changed his music, his energy, his decisions, and every single relationship around him. Fame didn't destroy their brotherhood. The world did. The pressure did. The streets did. And most tragically, fate did. In the days that followed, the city felt cold. Fans mourned. Artists cried publicly and privately. Old beefs paused. Rivals showed respect. The entire Chicago rap scene stood in silence, facing a reality none of them were prepared for. That one of the brightest lights had been taken far too soon, and the ripple effect would hit every corner of their world. For Durk, music became a battlefield of emotions. Grief, guilt, anger, nostalgia, love. Every verse sounded heavier. Every photo felt darker. Every stage felt emptier. Von's absence wasn't just pain, It was a permanent reminder of everything they survived together, and everything they couldn't escape. People from the outside talked about what caused the downfall. Some blamed fame. Some blamed the industry. Some blamed the streets. But those closest knew the truth. Brotherhood isn't destroyed by success. It's destroyed by the weight of the world pressing down on two people trying their best to climb out of a reality designed to swallow them. And for the city, the loss triggered something even deeper. Artists who once collaborated became distant. Blocks that shared a moment of unity drifted apart again. Young rappers stopped trusting each other the same way. OGs warned newcomers harder than ever. People feared that closeness leads to heartbreak. People feared that fame leads to danger. People feared that the moment you shine too bright, shadows grow stronger around you. The Chicago drill scene didn't collapse. It evolved. It hardened. It became more protective, more paranoid, more isolated. The love was still there, but the innocence was gone. The trust was gone. The belief that rising together was possible, that too took a fatal hit. And through it all, Durk kept going. Because he had to. Because someone had to. Because Vaughn would have told him to. Because the brotherhood they built wasn't made of weakness, it was made of survival. But even as he rose higher than ever, the emptiness followed him. The laughs weren't the same. The moments weren't the same. The wins weren't the same. Every achievement came with a shadow shaped like the friend he lost. People on the outside still argue about what happened, who was right, who was wrong. But those arguments miss the point entirely. The real tragedy wasn't the conflict, it was the separation. The dreams they never got to finish. The music they never got to make. The impact they never got to share. Because at the end of the day, Durk and Vaughn were more than rappers, more than faces of a genre, more than symbols of survival. They were two brothers who found hope in each other, only to learn that hope is the easiest thing to break. In the end, fame didn't destroy brotherhood. Fame exposed how fragile brotherhood is when the world is constantly clawing at it from all directions. And when Vaughn's chapter closed, it didn't just close a moment in time. It closed a piece of Chicago rap history that could never be replaced. But legends don't disappear. Legends echo. Legends inspire. Legends leave fingerprints on every person they touched. And in every OTF chant, in every memorial, in every lyric dedicated to Vaughn's name, you can still feel the brotherhood they built, even if the world couldn't protect it. And in that sense, the rise didn't destroy brotherhood, it immortalized it.